The St. Louis Cardinals just concluded a three-game series at home against the Milwaukee Brewers, one of their biggest rivals, and they looked absolutely horrendous in that three-game performance, at least batting-wise, I should say. At the 20-game mark, the St. Louis Cardinals were 9-11, and I really just wanted to make a 20-game early season analysis of the Cardinals, but I decided to let the entire Brewers series play out before I made the video, and I'm very glad I did because it has changed the trajectory of this video, and that's what I want to quickly talk about. A quick little 20-game early season analysis of the St. Louis Cardinals, just to see how the beginning of the season has gone. And I can't lie to you guys, it has definitely been a very interesting season to say the least. In one of my previous videos, I talked about how I thought the St. Louis Cardinals were going to be exactly how they were last year. Last year, the Cardinals' pitching was absolutely terrible, but they ended up having really good at-bats, and that's what won them games. This year, it is literally the exact opposite. I would have never predicted this at all in a million years, but our pitching is actually what's keeping us in games, and our batting is terrible. Absolutely horrendous. If this wasn't the first 2 minutes of the video, I would say some choice words. But in terms of YouTube's algorithm, I can't cuss in the first 2 to 3 minutes so people actually get the video. But the St. Louis Cardinals hitting is very, 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 very bad. If we take a live look here at the standings, you'll see the St. Louis Cardinals are dead last in their division, 9-13. A lot of teams already have double-digit wins. The Cardinals are one of the few that don't. A lot of teams are doing very good. Some teams are doing really bad, and unfortunately, the Cardinals are one of the teams that are doing very bad. Now, it is early in the season, the 162-game season, and they're only 9-13. Things could easily turn around, and the Cardinals could easily be heading in the right direction. But let's look at just how bad their offense has been through 22 games. Through 22 games, the St. Louis Cardinals have scored 76 runs. Some quick math shows you that that's 3.5 runs a game. That doesn't sound too terrible, right? 3.5 runs per game does not sound really bad. However, when you look at the rest of the league, the St. Louis Cardinals have the least amount of runs scored in the National League. And then if you add the American League, they have the fourth least amount of runs scored. Only 3 teams have scored less runs than the St. Louis Cardinals. That is the Oakland Athletics, the Chicago White Sox, and the Minnesota Twins. All 3 of those teams are trash. All 3 of those teams suck. Chicago White Sox are on pace to be one of the worst teams in MLB history. The Oakland Athletics are a joke franchise. And the Minnesota Twins have always been known for having great pitching, just not good hitting. At least in the last couple of years they have been. So the Cardinals are the 4th worst team offensively. The 4th worst team offensively. And we'll get into the specific numbers here in just a second. But when you look at the pitching and the runs allowed, the St. Louis Cardinals have only allowed 95 runs. Their differential is not bad at all. Only a 19 differential. It's not bad at all. Only a 19 differential. And in terms of runs allowed, they are 14th best. So they are the 14th. They have the 14th best pitching staff right now, but the 4th worst batting staff. So what is that? 27th in batting, but 14th in pitching. Complete opposite of where they were last year. Pretty sure last year we were like 11th in hitting and almost dead last in pitching. And the roles have reversed. Our pitching's actually been pretty good. Before I quickly get into the actual statistics of the team and look over exactly what's been happening, I'd just like to point out some of these games here. We only had a one run loss to the Dodgers, one loss to the Padres, a 2-run loss to the Phillies, a 1-run loss to the Phillies, 2 runs here to the Diamondbacks, and then 1 to the Brewers, 2 to the Brewers here. Half of our losses have been by 1 to 2 runs, and if you look in these games, especially the game that was just played today, we scored 0, 2-0, 2-1, 4-2. Hell, and even these games against the Athletics, 3-2, 3-1. Close games. In this game, we only scored 3 against the Phillies. Again, only scored 3 here against the Phillies. Again, only scored 2 runs here against the Padres. Our offense sucks right now, but our pitching's actually keeping us in games. If you take out these first couple of games here in this series against the Dodgers, our pitching's been great. Our pitching's been great outside of the game against the Brewers yesterday and this one game against the Marlins. Our pitching's actually been really good. Now, just to quickly go over the statistics of the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Arenado has by far been our best hitter. By far been our best hitter. Maybe Mason Wynn. Maybe Mason. But I would argue that it's probably Arenado. He had a rough start to the season. I think he started off the season like 1 for 15 or something really bad like that. But since then has been phenomenal. Has one of the best batting averages on the team at .29, and I think that goes to show just how good he's done with him having such a horrendous and absolutely terrible start to the season. 25 hits is the most hits on the team, second most RBIs on the team. The only thing that's a little bit worrisome is that he only has 1 home run, but he's still getting 11 RBIs and that many hits. As long as you get hits, a hit's still a hit. No one's going to complain about you getting a hit. Brendan Donovan is the exact opposite of Nolan Arenado, where Brendan Donovan had a really good start to the season and has since done nothing. He has the most RBIs, but he's your leadoff batter. I would hope that he can bring along a lot of RBIs. Paul Goldschmidt, and now after Arenado, a bunch of disappointments. Brendan Donovan, disappointment. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Gorman. Good God Almighty. What an absolutely horrendous start to both of these idiots here. Paul Goldschmidt, .179 ERA. .179, or batting average, not ERA, sorry. It's disappointing. It's really disappointing, especially when you look at his strikeout rate too. Paul Goldschmidt's not one known for striking out a lot. He's not, and he has struck out a lot. It's very unfortunate to see Paul Goldschmidt age like this. Or who knows, maybe he can turn things around, but it so far has not been a good season for Goldschmidt at all. Nolan Gorman, he has 3 home runs, which is unfortunately the most on the team. But besides that, Nolan Gorman doesn't have much going for him at all. There have been plenty of key at-bats for Gorman to really turn around his batting struggles and prove that he can be a veteran and elite hitter in the MLB, and he's let us down pretty much every time. Nolan Gorman has batted 3rd, 4th, 5th. We have given him plenty of opportunities, and he can't get it done. It's just early in the season. Maybe he can turn things around. But how it's looking right now, Nolan Gorman seems to just be a heavy hitter guy. He kind of seems like to be that Kyle Schwarber kind of player who hits a lot of home runs but also strikes out a lot, except he's not getting anywhere near the amount of home runs that you actually like him to get. So he's like a lot worse Kyle Schwarber. A lot worse Kyle Schwarber. Nothing like Kyle Schwarber. I'm just comparing him to that's the kind of player he is. It's home run or bust for him, but he's busting 9 times out of 10, right? 1.5 times out of 10, 8.5 times out of 10, 8.5 times out of 10, he's busting. Terrible for Nolan Gorman. However, the bright spot about this team, offensively, has been Mason Wynn. Mason Wynn has been a very, very pleasant surprise for the Cardinals. We knew that he was good. We did know that he was really good, and he's shown it to us this season. Elite speed. He's made some phenomenal plays at shortstop for us. Has made a couple of mistakes, but been phenomenal for us, been phenomenal on the bases, and it shows too. You look at his stolen bases, he has 3 of our 8 stolen bases. Not as many runs as you would like, only 7, but I think that's also a testament just to how bad the Cardinals hitters are hitting, because with that kind of speed on the base power, you'd expect him to get a lot more runs than he is getting. But he's the best batting average on the team. He has the second most amount of hits on the team. Still has yet to hit a home run, which is weird because he's known for having power, but he's getting on base, and that's just what you like to see out of Mason Wynn. And Wilson Contreras is also doing good for us too. 3 bright spots on this offense have been Nolan Arenado, Mason Wynn, Wilson Contreras, and 4, my bad, Ivan Herrera. Those 4 guys. Everyone else has sucked. I can praise 4 guys, and 2 of them are catchers. Besides that, I can't give anyone else praise. Lars Nootbaar, in his very first game at bat, hit a home run. Done nothing since. Michael Ciani, he's a replacement guy. What can I say? Jordan Walker, massive disappointment. Jordan Walker looks like ass. No way around it. Jordan Walker looks like shit. Him and Gorman, who are supposed to be these 2 really young pieces, have just sucked. At least Ivan Herrera and Mason Wynn have looked good. But Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker, what's going on, man? What's going on? I honestly don't know what's going on for either of these guys. Jordan Walker doesn't even have a home run. Jordan Walker has 9 hits. 9 hits. It's so disappointing. It's really disappointing, this young offense. It's just really disappointing. However, at least when we get to the pitching here, this has actually been a really pleasant surprise. These top 2 pitchers here, Miles Mikolas and Kyle Gibson, we don't really need to talk about them. We don't need to talk about Miles Mikolas and Kyle Gibson. Gibson actually hasn't been terrible. He had one really, really, really bad game. But outside of that, he's actually been decent in his other 3 starts. Miles Mikolas has not been good at all. He gave us 1 quality start. That's it. I mean, look at his ERA. 6.49 ERA. Kyle Gibson, he does have a 5 ERA, but like I said, in 1 game, I think he allowed 7 runs. So half of his earned runs allowed was in 1 game. So the other 3 games, he only allowed 7 runs. Just in 1 game, he also allowed 7 runs, so not good. But Lance Lynn has actually been surprisingly really damn good for the Cardinals. Lance Lynn, in 20 innings, has only allowed 5 runs. And 4 of them were on home runs. Look at that. Lance Lynn has allowed 4 home runs. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if all of his earned runs were allowed on home runs. I don't know if all 4 of those were solo shots or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if all 5 of his runs allowed were on home runs. Steven Matz has also been a great... Steven Matz was really good for us last year, and he's continuing to be really good for us. And Sonny Gray, the pitcher that we went out and paid for, who we knew was going to be really good, has been phenomenal for us. He's pitched in 3 games, and he's only allowed 2 runs. He lost that game. In his first 2 starts, he allowed 0 runs in both of those starts, and then in his 3rd start, he allowed 2 runs, and ended up losing that game. He ended up losing a game where he allowed only 2 runs. It's just tough to see. So our rotation, I believe, as it goes, is Sonny Gray's 1. Phenomenal. Really good 1 pitcher. Our second guy is Mikolas. Trash second pitcher. And I think it goes Lance Lynn, Steven Matz, Kyle Gibson. I know our rotation's a little messed up right now because Sonny Gray did start the season late, and he did get hurt and missed a couple of games. We have Lance Lynn, Steven Matz, and Sonny Gray, 3 starting pitchers who are playing really damn good ball right now. We have 3 starting pitchers playing really good ball. And even Kyle Gibson, like I said, in 3 starts, he's only allowed 7 runs. That's really damn good. That's, 2.3 runs a game? I would gladly take 2.5 runs a game from a starting pitcher. He just had 1 horrendous start. Absolutely terrible start. Miles Mikolas has been the only starter that it's like, damn, dude, you really need to just be out of the league at this point. He's just not what he was for us 2 years ago. The relief pitching has also been really good as well. Outside of Andre Palat here, and I've seen a couple of games where he's pitched and he's done ass. Palat, ass. Besides that, though, the rest of our starting pitching has been really good. Ryan Helsley, our closing pitcher who got hurt last year, has come back this year and he has looked phenomenal. 11 innings pitched, has only allowed 3 runs. He's done really good. I believe in his first start, either his first or second appearance as a closer, he allowed 2 runs. So he allowed 2 of his 3 runs in 1 game, in 1 inning. So he's been really good for us. Does it show his saves? Yeah, he has 7 saves. I think he's only blown 1 save. I don't see blown saves here. Maybe he hasn't. I wish I could see save opportunities. But Ryan Helsley, I think, has only blown 1 lead, and that was the game that he allowed his 2 runs in. But 11 innings pitched, only 3 runs allowed. Really good for a closer, really good. I'd also like to point out Matthew Liberatore has been great for us. We've tried to make him a starting pitcher, just hasn't worked out. So we've now put him in the bullpen, and he's doing the same thing as Ryan Helsley. In 11 innings pitched, he's only allowed 3 earned runs. No home runs. He's doing the same as our all-star elite closing pitcher. That's how good Matthew Liberatore has been in the bullpen. He's been doing really good. And sometimes he even gives us 2-3 innings of relief. He's been a very, very good surprise in the bullpen. And Matthew Liberatore just might have to be a rotation guy from now on. Maybe we'll try him starting pitching again. But if Liberatore is someone that can just become a relief pitcher, who knows if he's happy with that? But if that's where you thrive, if you're a true team player, you'll play as a relief bullpen pitcher. Who knows? On rotation day games, you can even get the start. I know we did that a couple of times where Zach Thompson started for us. It's trash. But then Liberatore came in. Who knows? But the pitching's actually been really good. Been very happy with the pitching. Very pleasant surprise. Libertor's going in the correct step. Helsley's back in full force. Jojo Romero has been really good for us. Lance Lynn, great surprise. Sonny Gray, as good as advertised. Steven Matz continuing his great season. It's just Miles Michaelis and Kyle Gibson that's really been ticking me off here. And then the batting sucks. We are the exact opposite of how I thought the season was going to go. Our pitching's actually been keeping us in games. Won a couple of games thanks to our pitching. Like I said, we won a 3-2 and a 3-1 game. Those are 2 more losses we could have had, but our pitching held us to under 3 runs, so our 3 runs was able to get us the win. I really hope the bats can turn out. Honestly, at this point, do we trade Paul Goldschmidt? I know he's a cornerstone of this franchise, but he's on the last year of his deal. He's playing like complete trash right now. Do we at least want to hopefully try to get something out of him? See if maybe Burleson can play first base, or maybe trade for a first base prospect or someone we can put at first base. Who knows? Maybe we sign a first baseman. Really sad to see Paul Goldschmidt go out like this. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, leave comments down below and how you thought about my video. And